is what we will talk about in the next part. How small actions can initiate a chain reaction capable of transforming how you feel. When you are depressed, even the simplest things seem impossible. Getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, replying to a message, everything requires an effort that you simply don't have. And the more you stop doing, the worse you feel. It's a cruel cycle. Depression paralyzes you, and paralysis deepens the depression. But here's a fact that no one tells you. You don't have to win this battle all at once. Small actions, almost insignificant at first glance, can create a domino effect and slowly rebuild your sense of control over your own life. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps, said that a human being can endure any suffering as long as they have a purpose. But when we're depressed, we lose that connection to a why. The world becomes meaningless. So, if a big goal seems unattainable right now, start with the minimum. Something that can be done in less than 5 minutes. Something so small that your mind can't find an excuse not to do it. This could simply be getting up and drinking a glass of water. It could be opening the window and taking a deep breath. It could be writing a sentence about how you are feeling. Does it seem like little? Maybe. But the point is that these small gestures start to send a new message to your brain. I still have control over something. Depression wants you to believe that nothing makes a difference. But when you take a first step, no matter how small, you break that illusion. And one step leads to the next. Walking for 5 minutes can lead to a 10-minute walk. Writing one sentence can turn into a longer outpouring. And slowly, without you realizing it, you start to move again. Another essential thing, connect with something outside of your mind. Depression makes you feel trapped inside your own thoughts, and often those thoughts are distorted, negative, and self-destructive. Something as simple as taking care of a plant, feeding a pet, or even exchanging a few words with a stranger can help create a small bridge out of that mental isolation. But there is a mistake that many people make when trying to improve. And this mistake can make depression feel even more suffocating. Often, in seeking help or trying to change, people end up feeling even more guilty for not being able to get out of it immediately. In the next section, we will talk about this trap and how to avoid it. Seeking help when you're depressed should be something simple, right? But in practice, many people feel even worse when they try to take that step. This is because there is a significant misconception in the way society views recovery from depression. The world tells you, just seek help and everything will get better. But what happens when you do that and still don't feel well? What happens when you take the medication, go to therapy, try to change your routine, and yet the depression is still there? The biggest mistake people make when trying to overcome depression is believing that improvement needs to be quick and linear, as if there were a reset button that once pressed would bring you back to normal. But that's not how it works. Recovering from depression is a long process, full of ups and downs. And if you're not prepared for that, you may end up feeling frustrated and thinking you're failing, which, ironically, only deepens the problem. The truth is that there is no single path to healing. What works for one person may not work for another. Some people improve with therapy, others need medication, some find relief in spirituality, physical exercise, or art. The important thing is not to find a perfect solution immediately, but to keep trying, experimenting, and adjusting until you discover what works for you. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But when you're depressed, it seems impossible to find that why. That's why the search for help can often be frustrating, because you want to feel better immediately. And when that doesn't happen, guilt sets in, along with the feeling that nothing will ever change. Another common mistake is relying on people who don't understand the depth of depression. Have you ever heard phrases like, "just have willpower," or "there are people in worse situations than you"? Comments like these not only don't help, but they can also make you feel even more isolated. The reality is that not everyone has the emotional preparedness to offer the necessary support. This means that choosing who you share your pain with is essential. Sometimes a conversation with the wrong person can do more harm than good. But here's the most important point. If you are seeking help and still haven't found something that works, it doesn't mean there is no way out. It simply means you haven't found the right approach yet. Recovery doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually, almost imperceptibly. And when you least expect it, you realize that you're enduring a little more, that the weight has become a little lighter. And that's why the final part of this video is so important. Depression tries to convince you that it is part of who you are, but that is a lie. You are not your depression. And in the next segment, we will talk about how to reclaim that truth and take back control of your own story. If there's one thing depression does better than anything else, it's convincing you that it's a part of you, that it is your identity, your natural state, that you have always been this way and always will be. But that is a lie. Have you noticed how your mind creates stories about who you are? If you have spent too much time in depression, it may have become the filter through which you see everything, including yourself. You might believe that you have always been sad, always been weak, always had something wrong. But try to remember, there was a time, even if distant, when you didn't feel this way. And if there was a time before depression, it means that it is not you. Depression is like a dense cloud covering the sky. It obscures the light, making it seem like the sun has disappeared forever. But the sun doesn't disappear. It's still there behind the clouds, waiting for the right moment to reappear. And the truth is this: you are still here. There is still something inside you that wants to continue. Something that, even in the darkness, chose to watch this video until the end. That is not insignificant. It means that no matter how small, there is still a part of you that hasn't given up. And it is to that part that you need to hold on. Depression does not define who you are. It is not your final destination. It can be a phase, a process, a call for change, but not your identity. You are much more than what your mind says when you are at your worst. Maybe everything still seems dark now. Maybe the wait continues. But now, you know there are paths, small steps that can break this cycle. Now you know you don't have to defeat depression all at once. You just need to keep moving. And more importantly, you are not alone. If this video made sense to you, if something here resonated with how you feel, I want to know. Leave a comment, even if it's just "I understand," so that others can see and realize they are not alone in this struggle. And if this video helped you in any way, watch the next one. It is also essential for you to understand more about yourself and continue on this path of recovery. See you there.